let's see what the people want to watch. Okay, I guess we're doing nerd news. Hey there people, how you doing? I'm Mr. Crunchberry and thank you for watching this video. Alright guys, so today we're going to start off with a news article that admittedly, this one is pretty old, but I wanted to touch on this one. I wanted to give it my 2 cents, and who knows, maybe some people haven't noticed this, but at&t has given up trying to buy out T-Mobile. Yeah! Why am I rooting on T-Mobile when I myself don't use T-Mobile? Well, why don't I answer your question with a question? Did you see the ads for at&t when this was going on? This is the network, and with a combined merger with T-Mobile, our network will be even grander and bigger, and you'll be able to do much more things with it much quicker. Shut up! I mean, for crying out loud, that ticked me off so incredibly much when I saw those. at&t, you never bought out T-Mobile. Nobody was behind you with this. And you, frankly, having those ads is like, well, we know that we're going to get T-Mobile because we're at-freaking-t and everything. We're going to buy them out. We're going to do that or whatever. You know what? You might want to think about making ads like that because it doesn't make you look powerful. It doesn't make you look cool. It makes you look like a douche. For those unfamiliar with the story, this is basically what was going on. And this is kind of why the FCC stepped in, okay? Here's what was happening. Here in the United States, you got several different cell phone providers that you can actually choose from. You can choose from Verizon, at&t, T-Mobile, Sprint, Cricket, Boost Mobile, just a couple of those ones or whatever. And they work all over the place. They're fantastic. But the only 2 cell phone providers that provide service both here in the United States and outside of the country is T-Mobile and at&t. So in other words, what at&t was trying to do was trying to buy out T-Mobile, the only other competitor when it came to service outside of the country, and then at&t would have a monopoly on service outside of the country. So, once the FCC found out about that, probably in one of the only moves that I'll ever agree with the FCC, they actually stepped in, talked to at&t and was like, I saw what you were trying to do there. Yeah, that's not going to happen. To be honest, I don't know why at&t even made those ads. I think maybe they were just trying to do that so that public opinion would go more towards them, because it's like, well, if the public is with us, then of course the FCC and the government's going to go with us. Like, yeah, like that's worked in the past, dude. But here's the thing. If there's anything that can be taught from this, it's this, boys and girls. Try not to be such a freaking douchebag. The rest of us will appreciate it. Now moving on to Avatar is Awesome news. Fans of James Cameron's Avatar are going to have to wait a little while longer for the next sequel to come out. Originally, people thought that it was going to be coming out as early as next year, 2013, but now it's starting to look like the next Avatar movie could be coming out as late as 2016, 4 years from now. Now, I know what a few of you are thinking. 4 freaking years? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't one of the reasons why Avatar took so long was because James Cameron was creating the technology around all of it or whatever? All of it has already been created, so why is it going to take 4 years to make all of this? Now, of course, I know why. It's because he really wants to make a really good movie, and, you know, admittedly, a sequel to Avatar, I might be wrong with this, and I know that a couple of my friends are going to point out as like, yeah, it can be done, but am I the only one who thinks that Avatar is one of those movies that cannot be sequeled? Now, something that I was concerned with when I first heard this or whatever was that 4 years? Come on. I mean, most people's attention spans are about, you know, the size of a moth right now. There's no way that people are going to be interested in this 4 years from now, with the exception of the hardcore Na'vi fans. I got a couple of friends who, they can even speak the language. They can speak the language in conversation. And frankly, it's one of the coolest things to hear. But for every other normal person, it's like, you know, well, what's going to happen now? You know, what are they going to do? Public interest is not going to be there as much. Something you need to take into consideration, though, is that when Terminator 2 came out, the first Terminator came out 7 years before Terminator 2. And Terminator 2 completely reamped the series. So, I mean, it worked with Terminator, and I think it's going to work with Avatar as well. Now, the big thing that a lot of people are bringing up, especially the producer, is that James Cameron is actually going to try to shoot the footage of the next Avatar movie all at 60 frames per second. For those of you unfamiliar, 60 frames per second is very close to how much information the human eye can process in real life. Most movies nowadays are shot in 24 frames per second, and the human eye can process things at about 72 frames per second. In fact, this video that you're watching right here is, I believe, 30 frames per second. In fact, I have a setting on my camera that it's actually 60 frames per second. So just watch this, okay? 30 frames per second. Okay, and now 60 frames per second. So you notice how it's a lot smoother right now, and it also looks a little grainy or whatever, probably because my camera is doing everything it can to get this high quality of footage. Now, if James Cameron is actually able to shoot at this level, at 60 frames per second, kudos to him, because that would be incredible, especially if he could get rid of some of the graininess as well. I'm just looking at my, I'm looking at the display footage of my camera right now, and I can already tell that the t-shirt's looking a little grainy. So, you know, if Cameron can do that, awesome. And now moving on to PCs, will you just shut up? News. Gaikai, a cloud gaming service, has made the bold prediction that either Sony or Microsoft is going to quit, I repeat, quit making consoles altogether and aren't going to be making anything other. So like no PS4 or no Xbox 720 or things along those lines. You know, I would probably yell at this company the same way that I yelled at Andy Payne about 2 episodes ago, but I'm pretty sure that I still have a migraine, or maybe that's a tumor now, I don't know, in my head from the last time. So, how should I put this mildly? PC, why are you trolling? Yeah, seriously, when I first read this article, I was like, Gaikai? What the heck is that? But then after that, I was just like, you know what? Why is it that whenever anybody says anything negative about the PlayStation or the Xbox or even the Wii or something like that, it's this big old huge deal? Guys, it's a cloud gaming service. It's another one of those companies that, just like Andy Payne, wants the gaming industry to completely fall apart and go straight to PCs because they want some extra cash. Now, Gaikai, if that's even how you say your name, I don't know if it's Gaikai or Gaykai or whatever, but here's a question for you. What are you doing? Why do you, Gaikai, think that you can just say all this stuff, all this crap about how the Xbox is going down or the PlayStation is going down or anything like that, and you don't think that there's going to be any repercussions? What, do you think people aren't going to read? Do you think people aren't going to pay attention about what you're saying? Do you think people like me aren't going to go onto the internet and actually find this stuff and then go on a rant about how you guys are so freaking stupid? Because, I mean, there's rumors! There's freaking rumors everywhere about the Xbox 720 and the PS4. The PS4 even has a trailer! Have you seen the trailer on YouTube? It's basically like a PS3 in 3D. Now, granted, they got to do more than that for me to get my attention or whatever, but there's rumors everywhere! Are you mental? You know what, Gaikai, like I said, I've already yelled anyway, so I broke my promise that I said earlier in the newscast, but, why don't you just take the same advice that I gave Andy Payne earlier? Shut up! Thank you. You know what? This is just good advice in general, but this is especially good advice to the people who frequently get on my newscast, okay? Think before you talk. Honestly, if you don't think about what you're going to say before you even say it, you're going to come off as a pretentious troll. And now that I'm here and everything like that, you never know when what you say is going to end up on this newscast because some 23-year-old is busy looking at IGN and XPlay and all those other websites and everything like that to make sure that your troll comments get brought up to the viewing public. It's what I do. Anyway, get off my face, and now it's time for something a little bit different on this show. Okay, guys, so I've decided that instead of doing the super awesome giveaway question, which I will do occasionally, it's just, you know, I don't really have that much stuff to give away, and I'm, you know, making pennies on the dollar, so I can't really buy stuff for you. Anyway. So here's what I'm going to do instead. Every now and again, I will do the super awesome giveaway question, but sometimes instead of that, I'm going to do this now. You guys, this week or whatever, if you see an article either on any newscast or on any YouTube video or gaming website or anything like that, send it to me in either a comment down below or in a personal message. If it ends up being really freaking awesome, I will use it in the next Nerd News. And if I use your article, not only will I just only use the article in your newscast, I will also go onto your channel, take a look at your videos if you have any or things along those lines. And if your channel, in my opinion, ends up being freaking awesome, you remember what I did with Agent John when he won the super awesome giveaway question and I told you guys how his deal was really cool and everything like that? Yeah, I'll do that to your channel as well if you guys are awesome, in my opinion. And I don't mean you personally, I mean your videos. Alright, that's all for Nerd News this week. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Have a great rest of the week. See you next week.